week after watching Great Britain tie the Kangaroos down without him, Mike Gregory leads Warrington against Bradford Northern, desperate to prove his fitness. He's already had his own tilt at the Aussie tourists in his comeback 4 days ago. The Test team is still his goal.
Yes, I mean, I've got to have a good game today, and I was quite pleased with the Australian game. But then again, it's not up to me. I mean, the 13 boys who played on Saturday did a tremendous game, and the subs. So, you know, as I say, it's up to Malcolm and Phil. You know, they picked the team, but you know, all credit to the guys who took the field. They did the job, and you know, to be honest, they should probably keep the job.
Well, today at Odsal, he'll have a close-up view of a rival for a second-row Test spot, Carl Fairbank. On paper, it might look an ordinary league match. On the pitch, there's a galaxy of talent. There's Kevin Ellis, a scrum half in Welsh Rugby Union, now getting a chance in that position for Warrington after impressing at stand-off. Against him, another former rugby union man from New Zealand, Brett Itty. Give it up, baby. Tell me where it's at. If pace and power help make a perfect wingman, there's at least two here. On the Warrington right flank, Des Drummond. And Bradford have their own international right winger, 6 foot of Welsh steel, 7 tries this season, Gerald Caudle.
David, Bradford Northern have gone into 3rd place. Great Britain have won the first Test match. Rugby league generally seems to be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, it does. It's now a very good selling commodity for the public, you know. We're getting spectators through all the gates now, and it's up to us, after Great Britain left us on a good footing the other week, to make sure it is an entertaining game.
Well, let's hope so. David Hobbs today makes one change from the team which beat Sheffield in midweek to go 3rd. Craig Richards comes into the front row because John Hamer was injured in training. Roger Simpson still isn't fit, so it's our first look at Neil Summers on Scrumdown. He arrived from Headingley Rugby Union Club at the end of last season. Warrington have Chris Rudd returning on the left wing in place of Paul Williamson, who's sub. In the pack, with Neil Harmon injured, Bob Jackson moves up to prop and Billy McGinty comes into the second row. And after doing well in defeat against Australia, they parade their own Aussie, standoff Chris O'Sullivan, and the grand final winners, Canberra Raiders. And we'll see the Aussie tourists later at Castleford, plus the championship leaders Hull at Wakefield, and how second-place Widnes beat Leeds to close the gap. But first, let's watch 3rd place Bradford against Warrington, who are 8th, with David Watkins and John Hell.
Thanks, Nick. It's amazing, a few weeks ago when Bradford Northern were beaten here by Leeds on Scrumdown, things certainly weren't going well for David Hobbs' side, and yet a victory at Sheffield in midweek puts them up as high as 3rd position. Just shows what an open championship it is. Bradford in the white shirts, of course, Warrington in the primrose and blue. And David, if Bradford Northern were to win this one, they really would have their season back on course.
Well, they certainly would. I think has there been a week like it, we have to ask ourselves after last week. I think the profile now of the First Division shows just how good our players are.
And David Hobbs, one of those top-class players, unfortunately can't respond this time. His kick went straight out. He's usually a better line finder than that. Then it means there'll be a scrum down, only about 15 yards out from the Bradford line. The referee in there is Ian Ollerton from Wigan, and it's only the 2nd First Division match he's ever refereed. So it's a stiff task for him today too. And good movement from Warrington, and they might well get the first try of the match. They do in the opening minute from fullback David Lyon. What a start for Warrington. Their first real movement straight from the scrum, and Lyon has Warrington's first try. Warrington 4, Bradford Northern 0.
A result of a bad kick to touch by David Hobbs, went straight out on the full. Warrington work a move, and for the first try, it is Sheely just coming into the line by Lyon on the burst, which leaves the defence stranded.
the most difficult kick imaginable. Right out on the white line. But David Lyon, having scored the try, looks to convert it and just doesn't quite make it. But a good start for the Wire. They're 4 points up.
Well, we see David Hobbs had missed that kick for touch, but look, it's merely just moving out along the line, and look how slow the defence is going up. They seem half-hearted. Marchant has come way out of position, leaves a gap open for David Lyon, takes full advantage of it. Caudle can't stop him.
Not the start Bradford would have expected. Here's Des Drummond, former Great Britain wingman, who chooses not to play for his country these days, happy to restrict himself to club football. Tony Burke, ex of Leeds and St Helens. Dwayne Mann, the hooker. Bob Jackson, who's moved up to the front row today. Mann's kick. Downfield towards Ian Wilkinson. It'll pop up handily for him. And away goes the former Leeds and Halifax fullback. Doesn't make much ground. Brian Noble acting half-back, finding McGowan, and referee Ollerton spots a Warrington man offside. Warrington already thinking perhaps of having to make a substitution because Tony Burke, inside his own 25, has an injury, but he's carrying on. And here goes Steve McGowan, who's just got back into the side after injury and scored twice at Sheffield. The big man is Craig Richards. Bradford looking for an immediate reply to that shock start from Warrington. Carl Fairbank plunges through, does really well, finds Marchant at his shoulder, and Bradford are on the score sheet. And it's Neil Summers.
Well, this is just what Bradford really wanted. They move the ball out wide, so move coming back on the inside. But it's the sheer strength of this guy, pulls out of the tackle. What a perfect pass to Tony Marchant. Summers on his shoulder, as good standoff should be. What a try.
Glory goes to Summers, but a lot of the credit does go to Carl Fairbank. So the scores are level, and David Hobbs has the chance to nose Bradford ahead. It was a very similar kick, actually, to the one that Lyon missed. It had the wrong result, but for Bradford, they're back on level terms.
Well, Bradford had to do something and do it rather quickly, and I think they did it well because this was a pre-planned move. Fairbank broke out of 2 tackles. One can say poor tackling. Marchant followed superbly, but look how well he drew the pass to make it impossible for Lyon to take Summers.
Try a piece in the first 5 minutes. Drummond, and looks to go down the outside, and that was really quick thinking by Drummond, and he cuts infield now, and it required that very strong tackle from Richards to halt him. Good quick thinking that from Desi Drummond, though. And the ball moves rapidly along the line, and there could be another Warrington score on here as Billy McGinty gets to within 10 yards. By switching it right and left, moving the ball around to good purpose, Warrington. They've lost their last 3 matches, but they're hell-bent on getting a win here. They actually won at Odsal last season in the Challenge Cup, and Tony Burke tries to power his way through. Bradford's defence really being stretched at the moment. The drop goal might have been on, instead it was a short pass from Ellis, and Sullivan halted right in his tracks. And away come Bradford, relieved.
I mean, I think they spoiled it a little bit here. Drummond already going down the wing now, but this is where he goes. Sees that the outside is going to be blocked. He was going to be pushed in a touch, sought the right option by coming back infield. Although he's brought down, gives his team the opportunity to move right or left.
They're asking Summers to pot it upfield, which he does, but only straight into a pair of Warrington hands, those belonging to Ellis. And somebody has said something out of turn, and they've awarded Warrington a penalty. It was Pendlebury. And David Lyon again steps forward, and Mike Gregory makes the decision for him to kick. It's a much easier looking kick for Lyon, but he's not negotiated it. Screwed right across the face of goal. Status quo. Almost caught Alan Bateman there. And the two Welsh Rugby Union converts, much to the fore in this move. There's a slick ball. Gregory still keeps it moving, and Warrington keep it flying along the left. Good ball played out by Chris O'Sullivan, the Australian. There he is once more, feeding Gregory that time, out to Chris Rudd, and Gerald Cordell puts him straight into touch, no messing. Chris O'Sullivan could be a linchpin in this Warrington side, very experienced man.
Yes, he is, but it's noticeable now that the Bradford's tackling has tightened up quite a bit, and yet Warrington is still trying to persevere and forcing their way down the middle, and of course that's where the defence is at the strongest.
Bradford need to spread it quickly. They're standing deep there. Ooh, almost sold the dummy. There's Neil Summers. This is Tony Marchant. Not much progress made, and Warrington are up so quickly on them that Bradford are finding it difficult to make more than 5 yards with each successive tackle. Hobbs might have thought of the chip over. That was good running, and here's a chance as Cordell goes down the outside, chips back in field. Now how's it going to bounce? Marchant takes it, did well, so Bradford able to keep the move continuing. It's good stuff initially from Fairbank. Hobbs. Long ball which could have caught them out, and here's McGowan having a tilt. Still gets the ball away for Itty. Little Brett Itty comes back in field and just puts a foot into touch.
Just look, Itty going on the outside now here. Des Drummond, he's got to be good to knock him off, but he wasn't strong enough to knock off the cover defence.
It's an astute little kick, and McGowan would do well to keep that in. It was well played indeed by Chris O'Sullivan. One of the most experienced players to come out of Australia. He actually played more games than anybody else in the grade rugby at one stage. Itty takes it out of the scrum. Wilkinson runs with purpose. Tony Marchant, one of the try scorers at Sheffield in midweek. Oh, and he throws the ball to Sullivan, and Warrington must surely profit from this. Chris Rudd will never score an easier try, and Tony Marchant must be absolutely kicking himself. He threw the ball into the opposition hands, and Chris Rudd said thanks a lot.
Well, Bradford trying to run themselves out of defence here. He was held up, passed back to O'Sullivan. Look at that, he just takes it off him, passes it out. It really only moves it out along the line, leaves the Bradford defence, who were expecting to be on the attack themselves, having to desperately defend. They can't stop him.
If Chris Rudd converts his own try, it will be a considerable achievement. Well, there's no need to tell you he didn't. But Warrington restore their 4-point advantage.
Well, Bradford now trying to move the ball out of defence, and Marchant is called in no man's land. O'Sullivan takes it off him gratefully, moves it out wide. It is merely just transferring to the ball. The defence is caught out completely. Cordell can't hold him. Rudd in the corner.
A quarter of an hour of the first half to go. Richards, haven't seen any of his penetrating runs as yet, and he can make them. Bradford fans getting a bit restless. They want to see a bit more action from a side which scored 36 points in midweek. They have a chance of 2 more here from an offside verdict, and David Hobbs steps up and will surely take the opportunity of trying for 2. That's good enough. Bradford Northern 6, Warrington 8. Good catch from Mitty. Brings on Paul Medley, who looks for one of those barnstorming runs through the middle. Noble has gained valuable yards there. Great servant and trier, Noble. Pendlebury. On the line to Richards. Tigerish Warrington tackling now, pinning Bradford back, so Hobbs elects to kick. And this is a better one because it gives Bradford time to get up there as Lyon picks it up. Ellis to Gregory. I think, David, that Bradford's kicking game could be very important in this match.
Well, it is. I didn't think he was kicking all that well myself. He's putting them down the middle, giving Lions an easy task of picking it up. But,
Rudd has the ball back inside, and they didn't quite hold him on that touchline. He was able to keep the move flowing. Now they'll move it, and Ellis goes into a gap, and he is quick. Very good play from Kevin Ellis, and the long ball, they've got to take it. They do. Back inside for Des Drummond. They swing it out to the hooker man. He's in. And Warrington have got their third try of the half. It all came really from the other flank when they didn't not run into touch.
well, they've taken Bradford unawares a number of times. The ball is moved out wide again here, and Ellis now really sets off in hot on the outside. He makes an arc, draws Wilkinson out with it, throws a long ball over. Now Cullen nearly get mixed up there with Drummond, but what a superb pass back inside to a man, and over he goes.
Still no goal, but 3 tries to 1, and if Warrington had converted their tries, they'd have been well ahead.
Well, they really would have. They are playing well. They're catching Bradford on the hop once or twice. I mean, that try was a result, really. Just watch out this try. I mean, it came from one side of the field to the other. It was a long arcing run now by Kevin Ellis. He sees his way blocked, but cuts out the man by throwing a long ball over. It's now caught, but look how good the inside backing up is. On both occasions, there were men there, and man goes in for the try.
Bradford's penalty. And now somebody on the Warrington side has said something, and Mike Gregory asks what it's all about.
I think what that was then really was the man wouldn't give him the ball back and then threw it away to seek an advantage themselves to give him time back. Referee spotted it and awarded the penalty to Bradford.
Can they score before the break? Oh, they've cut another penalty, offside this time. But I think David Hobbs might well elect to kick the ball between the posts.
Yes, I think it's a wise decision. He's got to really try and put something back. They aren't that far away at 12-6, of course, but it just goes to show how important goal kicking is, because had Lyon kicked any of his goals this afternoon, it really would have taken it considerably away from Bradford this first half.
So just prior to the hooter, David Hobbs should make it 8-12. A chance he takes. And there is the hooter, half-time then here at Oddsall. By far from a vintage performance from Bradford Northern, David, and they're the team who have got to improve in the second half.
They certainly have. Indifferent, I would say, Bradford Northern performance, but Warrington, you have to say, tightened up on defence, used the ball wisely and scored the tries that really mattered.
So 8 points to 12 it is. Bradford's only try came from Neil Summers, 2 goals from David Hobbs. Lyon, Rudd and Mann all crossed the Bradford line for Warrington. It's 12-8 to the visitors at half-time, and we'll be back after the break. Welcome back to Odsal Stadium as Bradford Northern take the field for the second half. 8 points to 12 down. I'm sure we'd all love to know just what went on in the Bradford Northern dressing room at half-time when David Hobbs gave his team talk. We can actually find out because one of the Bradford players not in action today is John Hamer. He's been in there. He's now with Nick.
John, what's the mood in the dressing room at half-time?
Well, the mood in the dressing room is that we're not playing very well at all, and yet we're still in game. We're only 6 points adrift, but we've got to increase this game threefold because we're just not performing.
So what specifically has David Hobbs been saying?
Well, basically, as defence in up to scratch, we're making too many errors, simple errors, and we've got to get the ball wider because that's where we're going to break this team.
Well, you're not really fired up for Warrington, is that fair?
No, I don't think it's fair. I mean, Warrington, they've got a good defensive team. They haven't scored many tries in the last few games, whereas we've scored 13 tries in the last 2 games. But you've got to be fired up in this first division because it's that competitive.
All right, well, we'll see if there's any tries in the second half. John, thanks very much indeed. Here's the kick-off. Here's John.
Thanks, Nick. Thanks to John Hamer. Actually, that's a very good point he makes, David, that Warrington do have one of the best defences in the entire league.
Yes, they do. They've shown that as well. And I think most of the things that John said then, it is the defence that's been bad at Bradford. They've made too many elementary errors and they've really forced the ball. But now they're starting, as they really should do, fired up and moving the ball out. Perhaps now they can make something of it.
Let's have a look at the statistics of the first half. Starting with the scrums, which Bradford are taking 4-2 at the moment. None have been won against the head by either hooker. 6-11 the penalties conceded, Warrington conceding them more. And the errors in play, 3 apiece. So Bradford's possession here inside the Warrington 25. And Etie. Summers on to Hobbs. Pendlebury switching it. Looking for that support again. He was just able to get the ball away to Hobbs. Steve McGowan doesn't make any ground at all, and Warrington's tackling as keen as it was in the first 40 minutes. Oh, and again it's gone from Bradford's hands into Warrington's. It was Hobbs, the coach himself, that time. Thorniley makes a run. And that was just typical of what went on in the first half.
That's right, 2 errors already have started to be all the excitement of the game, and that was a blatant pass to O'Sullivan, who took full advantage of it, got upfield, and of course they've now been penalised in the tackle, which means that they can either kick for touch, which they are going to know. Reddy's opting to kick for goal.
Warrington still haven't kicked a goal on this afternoon, but Rudd can put that record straight. That looks a better one, but it's in. And it's the first successful kick from a Warrington player, and it takes them a further 2 points clear at 14-8. Bradford need an injection of something, and David Croft might be the answer. We'll be taking off Craig Richards. Hasn't really made much of an impact on the game. What did the manner he can do? Now Etie kicks through, and this could be spot on. Excellent kick. Brett Etie, a very valuable acquisition for Bradford Northern. And he scored 5 tries in 7 matches for the club. Away goes Ellis. He's sharp, no doubt about that. Good turn of pace. Mike Gregory. The ball put to ground. It's Bradford's. Still, they've only got the 1 score, and that was so early in the match. Seems a long time ago since Neil Summers crossed the Warrington line. Warrington's mean machine defence doesn't want to let anything else past them. and just unable to get that pass in. Witty, Pendlebury straightens up, does give it this time, again it's gone to ground. Seems to be one of those afternoons where little is going right for Bradford. Well, a lot of errors, well, perhaps not really, 7-6 on a cold day here at Odsal. Long ball flung out again, and Lyon coming up, helping out and giving Drummond the ball. He did well to regather that one. I can't quite force him over the white line. Drummond picking himself up a little groggily. Wilkinson rounds the first man. Comes the other way. Now he straightens up. Noble from acting half-back. That was a better ball, and Medley goes on and spins away. He times those runs so well, and he was almost through, almost into the gap. Bradford having a lot of possession at the moment, but they've got to make it count. Ganity to the fore. It's gone to ground again. No wonder the fans feel frustrated.
Well, both sides have put down many opportunities, and if you notice, most of the tries have been scored from mistakes as well, and it really is the side that can tighten up on that avenue of play will be most successful this afternoon.
Bradford's pack wheeling Warrington round. Where is it? It's a Bradford penalty. Well, for the umpteenth time in this match, the referee then moves Warrington on a further 10 yards. And David Hobbs will kick at goal once more. He's kicked 2 straight penalties. And he needs to edge his side a little closer to Warrington's score. The only way Bradford have kept in touch has been through the boot of David Hobbs, at the same time as Warrington have been missing their kicks. And he pots his third, and Bradford are into double figures. Warrington's support play has been good throughout the afternoon. Tony Burke has worked hard. Last tackle once more. Ellis this time decides to move it right, and O'Sullivan kicks through. This is an awkward one, but well picked up by McGowan, and he turned the defenders too. Read that right.
He did read it right, but it was a more difficult kick to deal with than the one up in the air, and that's the sort of kicks that both sides should be looking perhaps now to do, is to try and break down the distance by putting the grubber kick, just pushing it through the centre of the field and chasing it, making the defence turn.
This is good. Tremendous run here from Paul Medley. Can he make it all the way? Paul Medley trying to go on the outside, and he might just get there to the line. Is he in? He's there. A storming try from Paul Medley. He's gone 70-75 yards for that one. Typical Paul Medley, and Bradford needed it so much.
Well, we said Bradford wanted some inspiration. He pushes off 2 tacklers there and then makes the sprint up the touchline. Ellis can't hold him, but really look at that now. There's strength and aggression, holds off the fullback, and in fairness he gets hold of him, but that's all he can do with his weight, is carry him over the line. A tremendous try.
Purely down to the individual. There isn't a more exciting forward in rugby league when he runs like that. And his coach must be relieved. It's brought the scores level. Can he put the icing on the cake? Couldn't have been closer. And we're back level pegging.
Well, Bradford have been pinned in their own half. They've been making mistakes. The ball was out more speculative than anything else. Mike Gregory missed the tackle, surprisingly. Ellis couldn't catch him. But really, this is tremendous work by the forward. Carries the ball in the right arm, so he has his other arm to push off the defence. But the defence only carries him over.
Scrums are still an untidy aspect of the game. This one is out for Bradford. And they run it again with Wilkinson. He's had a good second half. They'll try and catch Warrington unawares now. And it's out to that far side, and more good running here. And again it's Paul Medley. He's the one who's leading them from the front. Up came Hobbs into it. This is better. Marchant holds on, and Tony Marchant streaks for the line, and he's made up for his mistake earlier. Isn't he a pleased young lad? Tony Marchant, who threw the ball away earlier to present Warrington with a try, has shown his character by coming right back to take Bradford ahead.
Well, Bradford, Medley again had made the run. They now move it wide. They're now starting to do the things we've been talking about by getting out wide. What an incredible piece of juggling that was by Tony Marchant. Caught the defence at 6 and 7. That's all they could do was chase behind him as he went in the corner.
The complexion of the game has turned in 5 minutes. Hobbs summoning up all his concentration. That looks a better one. The flags are raised, and so are Bradford's hopes.
Well, the ball has got to be moved wide, and David Hobbs now is coming in onto the ball, and people are now running onto it. Marchant there, look, he knocked it virtually over the top of the man. A couple of years ago, that would have been a knock-on. Now it's a readjustment. He leaves the defence in his wake. What a great try.
Bradford did the double over them in the league, but lost here in the cup. And this is on the last tackle. O'Sullivan's kick, and that's a nasty one. Wilkinson comes for it, but couldn't get there. He was knocked out of the way, but the referee, I'm not sure whether he saw it. He said play on. It didn't matter in the end, because on the last tackle it became Bradford's ball. And Noble is the first man to drive out. Itty finding Wilkinson. Ten minutes left. Fair back to Itty. Looked as though it might have been forward, that. Hobbs with the kick. It's long. It might be very good as well. It's a super kick, is that. That's what he's so good at, and that's why he won Great Britain recognition. Bradford pushed Warrington's pack back with an almighty shove. They scored a try against Wigan doing exactly that recently. They pushed them all the way over the line. And this is Bradford at their best now. They're scenting victory. And they want to sew it up. Running from Croft. Another try might finish off Warrington. Itty. Durable little character, but he might have served his side better by giving the ball out then. However, they've still more tackles to come. David Hobbs for the drop. It's all going Bradford's way now.
Well, you always have to take advantage of your pressure, and they'd forced their way into this position, and David Hobbs wasn't going to leave it at that. Took the opportunity of dropping a fine goal.
Gregory, the man who was Great Britain's captain on the tour last year, has quite a lot to do still. You've got to be careful. There could have been an interception there. As it is, Lyons broken free, and this is a great moment for Des Drummond, surely. No, there was a forward pass in there. So it's all to no avail for Desi Drummond. curses, he says.
Well, they really are pushing themselves forward in attack, and Lyon slips out of a tackle here, and you have to question the defence in that situation. He passes, that's the pass that they talk about. There was no chance of him stopping Des Drummond, but the referee was on the spot and judged it forward.
And Bradford breathed a sigh of relief, because that would have given Warrington the chance to get back to 21-20. Still 21-14. Longer ball out now, and the chance to run is here. Well, he keeps bouncing people away. Another tremendous effort from Paul Medley. Well, that wasn't so good from a Bradford point of view. Down by Pendlebury. Penalties to Warrington. They can't afford just to kick a goal, or can they? Chris Rudd's coming in field. If they get 2 more points, I suppose it would take it to 21-16, and then they would just need 1 more score. Chris Rudd to try and reduce the deficit to a mere 5 points, and a chance he takes. So Warrington are back with it. Got 6 more tackles, touch the Warrington hand. So can Bradford put the seal on the victory? That's the latest question. It's well played by their captain. Once more Fairbank shows it and gives it to the right. Croft was there. We're inside the final minute as Bradford come looking for a clinching try. The longer ball is taken by Shelford, and Gerald Caudle, who's had no chances at all afternoon, puts the seal on Bradford's victory. Caudle for his 8th try of the season. He's able to smile now after a very quiet afternoon. Well, Bradford now have persisted this last quarter to move the ball well, and this has given them the opportunities, although that was a well-taken pass. But Caudle squeezed it in at the corner. Superb. That try means the points are going to Bradford Northern today. There's the salute. It was a long time coming, but it was worth waiting for, he says. And a highly productive week for Bradford. Hobbs to try and round it all off. Hoists it well, but not quite well enough. But that's it, and Bradford Northern have come right back. They trailed until midway through the second half, but they showed the strength of character to persist. And having won at Sheffield in midweek, they get 4 points out of the week by beating Warrington 25 points to 16.
You got out of jail a little bit there, didn't you?
Pardon?
You got out of jail a little bit there.
Yes, we played a lot better in that second half, definitely.
You've personally been to hell and back, haven't you?
That's right, yes, you know, but it's worked out this second half. Yeah.
What changed it?
The telling off in the dressing room at half-time, like, you know, but we come out and prove that we can play football.
You must have enjoyed it, a good feeling towards the
end.
end.
Yeah, good finishing, yeah, some good tries scored there.
Thanks very much, Tony.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Tony Marchant happy enough, and there are the details behind Bradford's win. The tries from Summers, Medley, Marchant and Caudle, and 4 goals from David Hobbs, plus a drop goal for Warrington. Lyon, Rudd and Mann the scorers. 2 goals from Rudd, 25-16 to Bradford. Stone's bidder man of the match was David Watkins.
A strong and aggressive runner whose speed makes him a formidable opponent. His try gave Bradford the inspiration they so badly needed to help win the game. Paul Medley.
Congratulations, Paul, your cheque and your trophy.
Thanks a lot.
It seemed to be all going away from you, and then suddenly that try.
Yeah, I don't think that was it. I mean, we knew we'd got to do in the second half. The lads stuck together, the teamwork pulled us through.
Well, you were third before today, and there's no doubt with other people losing now today, it could be big things for Bradford Northern.
Well, hopefully we set a target 3 weeks ago that we'd win every game up to Christmas, and so far it's come true. So hopefully we can keep it going.
Well, the best of luck.
Thanks a lot.
I think there's a bit to prove. I mean, you in the second row, Paul Medley in the second row, both obviously keen to get into the Test side.
Well, each game you're trying to prove you're Great Britain's number 12 or 11, and me and Paul will make a good partnership, and who knows, we may be there one day together.
Well, you'll probably be there next week, and you must really be looking forward to taking on the Aussies, having beaten them at Wembley.
Yeah, it's another game at Old Trafford. Last week was one of the best games I've ever been involved in, and if we win at Old Trafford, it'll be another great night.
It's been a good week for Bradford Northern. Have you got the credentials to be champions?
Yeah, it's like we're going through a transition period now, where we're losing Paul and Kelvin Skerritt and Brett Eaty and Neil Summers coming in. They're beginning to knit together, and we'll be forced to reckon with, I think.
It'd be nice if I can make it for the second test, but I'm not going to count my chickens. I'll just do my best for Warrington. A bit disappointing today, but hopefully at the weekend, the 13 who were picked for Great Britain will do the job again.
The day's statistics. Bradford edged the scrums 8-5, and their experienced hooker Brian Noble also took the only one on the day to go against the head. There were more than 30 penalties, many of them for talking back to the referee. Warrington conceded 3 more than Northern. It was a game of few errors though. Warrington's were in single figures. The Australian touring team keen to put things right before the second test next week. We're at Castleford today. Here's Nick.
Well, the Australians, who'd beaten Warrington in midweek, were looking for further proof that they'd bounced back from their test defeat. 5 changes from the Wembley side, including the loose forward Brad Mackay, who sent in Andrew Ettingshausen for the first try of the afternoon. Mal Meninga was in better kicking form, 4 out of 5 goals today. But the crucial moment as far as the test next week is concerned may have come here with number 4, Mark McGaw, injured in that tackle. Now, it turned out that he damaged knee ligaments, and he is out of next week's test match. Also injured Glenn Lazarus. Lee Crooks reduced the arrears to 6-2 for Castleford, but Australia soon hit back. Benny Elias there involved in this move. Steve Roach, the pivot. Elias again, he too back in contention for a test place, having missed out at Wembley. And the try scored by Bob Lindner against the club, of course, he used to play for. More flowing rugby from Australia. Cliff Lyons was involved in that move, another man back in test contention, although he wasn't at his best this afternoon. And the try scored by Dale Shearer, who's also a man who didn't play at Wembley and hopes to play at Old Trafford. Plenty for the Kangaroos to be happy about at half-time. Early in the second half, Castleford contributed to their own downfall. Lee Crooks losing the ball, Steve Roach setting up Lyons, and he sends in Mal Meninga for the Australians' 4th try of the afternoon. 24 points to 2 at that stage. The Australians then took exception to what they saw as an over-the-top tackle by Lee Crooks. And 1 or 2 moments of rough stuff, but the referee able to sort it out without any blood actually being spilt. And Castleford hit back with their only try of the afternoon. Well worked, John Joyner with the final pass to David Plange. But Australia wrapped it up at 28-8 with a final try from Ettingshausen. Castleford unable to repeat their 1967 win over the Australians. Malcolm Reilly played that day. He expects the Aussies to be tougher at Old Trafford than at Wembley.
Certainly, I think the Australians are going to come out in a far more determined mind. I mean, the thing is, as far as they're concerned, if they mess this one up, obviously the Ashes series is lost to them. And likewise, it's a great opportunity for us because we haven't won the Ashes for 20 years. So we'll be going out there in a very determined frame of mind also.
Well, now the championship headliners. Wakefield coach David Topless, the mastermind behind the season's first defeat of his old club Hull. Paul Loughlin back on the test trail perhaps with 5 goals for St Helens. David Myers, 2 tries as Wigan come from 15-10 down to win. Oldham's Duncan Platt sent off against Wigan for tripping Ellery Hanley. Paul Lyman, the try that sent Hulkingston Rovers on their way against his old club Featherstone. And in Division 2, Jeff Fletcher, back in charge of Runcorn for a while, sees his team come within a point at ending a 50-match losing run. But no doubt where the day's main story unfolded at Bellevue.
Wakefield was soon 2 points to the good against Hull with Conway's penalty, and they conjured up the first try, Du Toit making the running, and it's the recent signing from Wigan, Jed Byrne, on the end of it for an unconverted score. Hull's enterprise has taken them to the top, and Greg Mackey's sleight of hand would have been envied by Paul Daniels. That turned out to be the prelude to Hull's opening score. Mackey again flinging out the pass, and the ball really moving along, with the pack almost all involved, including Great Britain men Harrison and Jackson, and the final scoring pass went to the Australian Brad Webb. Paul Eastwood, Hull's third international, bang on target with the kick. And it looked as if Brian Smith's side were heading for more points when Frenchman Patrick Arntat figured in a second-half passing bout. The next pass wasn't so crisp. Andy Mason, the Quicksilver Mason, intercepted it. There aren't many who catch him in the league. Hull didn't have anyone with his speed. Conway's kick, an easy one, and it eased Trinity ahead. It's not often that Hull make mistakes, but when Andy Dannett's pass proved too difficult for Webb to take, Andy Wilson was off like a greyhound. The winger still had a lot to do, but he outstripped the cover, rounded the next man and finished strongly, as all good wingmen should. And the last try came almost directly from a scrum, the ball zipping along nicely. It always looked as though the Hull defence was going to cave in, and sure enough it did. Again the ball moves smartly, and it's Andy Mason romping in for his second try to seal a notable success for David Topless's team. Conway's kick rounded it all off. Hull beaten for the first time this season. It really opens up the championship. Wakefield 22, Hull 6.
Well, now your full check on the Stones Bitter Championship results. Bradford Northern 25, Warrington 16. Hull Kingston Rovers 24, Featherstone 14. Rochdale 18, St Helens 30. Wakefield 22, Hull 6. Wigan 38, Oldham 15. Hull's lead then reduced to 2 points over Widnes, and Bradford Northern in third place at 2 points further behind. Hull Kingston Rovers climbed 2 places to fourth, and Wakefield are up 4 to fifth. At the bottom, Rochdale are in danger of losing touch, then come Sheffield and Castleford. Warrington drop 3 places. Well, the most important of this weekend's championship matches that we haven't shown you so far took place yesterday at Norton Park, and Widnes took an early lead against Leeds. Martin Offiah strolling in, as he liked really, after 5 minutes, to put Widnes in front. Leeds certainly had their chances. Some very tough personal battles going on out there. Leeds, as you see, within a yard or so of the Widnes line, but just unable to make their pressure pay. Colin Maskell there. And eventually Steve Malloy trying to drive in, gives the ball away, and Widnes escape. And that was really the story of the first half. Widnes punished Leeds for it. An attempted interception here by David Creaser goes badly wrong. And Andy Currier streaks away to send John Devereux away in the corner. Within a few minutes, Widnes had scored a further try. Poor tackling, letting in Imosi Kaloto, the man of the match, under the posts. Plenty for Norman Smith and David Ward on the Leeds bench to think about, and then to think about a few moments later for Martin Offiah and Phil Ford. Both sides seeing themselves as championship contenders, lots at stake. Leeds got their first try shortly before half-time. Kuiti beating Phil Ford, getting involved in the right kind of action this time. Although again, John Holdsworth, the referee, having to step in to calm a few fraying nerves. The try of the match came early in the second half, and it really sealed Widnes' victory. Imosi Kaloto making 40, 50, 60 yards. Support inside from Richie Ayres. Harkin can't make the tackle, pay nor can Gallagher. And David Hume is there to pick up Kaloto's final pass and score a try worthy of winning any match. Widnes held out amid some Leeds pressure until 10 minutes from time. Then Roy Powell, the substitute, feeds Schofield, and he sends Simon Irving in. By then, though, it's really too late for Leeds. And Widnes got a further try in the dying seconds. The ball switched from right to left, and then it comes back across to the right. And who's there in the corner, of all people? Kurt Sorensen to clinch the Widnes victory. Widnes 26, Leeds 8. Well, now back to today and Division 2. Carlisle 44, Barrow 26. Dewsbury 28, Doncaster 2. Halifax 28, Batley 3. Huddersfield 16, Workington 16. Heathley 32, Chorley 18. Nottingham 14, Rydale York 24. Runcorn 10, Hunslet 11. Salford 40, Bramley 0. Trafford Borough 27, Fulham 28. Whitehaven 16, Swinton 24. Salford and Halifax still lead the way. Lee drop behind Swinton and Carlisle only because they didn't play today. Away wins take Fulham and Rydal York up 3 places each. Well, there's a change to the SCRUMDOWN game in next week's TV Times. We're at Featherstone for what should be an exciting derby with Castleford. But now, just enjoy again one of the solo tries of the season. Well done, Paul Medley. Good night from Odson.
The programme returns next Sunday at the same time, 11:35.